Oh, Damascus Dead, please don't. This is a family show for the love of everything sacred. Actually, there's nothing sacred in Wenz world, let's be honest. No sacred cows, pork, chickens, you get the idea. We are open for business on Sundays. But good news, Backlash coming up is on a Saturday, early May, coming up here in a couple weeks. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Ladies and germs, I do recognize that it has been some time since we have recorded and posted and teased and all that stuff, and really it's one person's fault, and if that person would be so bold as to admit that the fault is theirs and to explain why we're having to wait so long to do this, I can be patient and wait.
Okay, Wenz, begin when ready.
Oh, you spelled Bucci wrong.
Yeah.
So,
okay. It was me. All right. Basically, as we know, Dez has just got used to using the apps and everything. So I was recording from an undisclosed location. I do not want to reveal at this time. When the time is right, I will reveal it. Dez knows what it is, but only a select few group of people know outside of the public. But when I'm ready to go public, I'll reveal where I was. But apparently, the Wi-Fi wasn't good, so I used a hotspot on my phone. For whatever reason, it didn't work. I thought I only cut out a little bit, but apparently it was worse than I thought.
Oh, it was dreadful. I wouldn't have made somebody that's being tortured at Guantanamo Bay listen to that. It was so bad. It would have destroyed the eardrums of children worldwide. Bucci, I am not here to torture people, and not to mention your takes were tepid. I mean, tepid takes. We're about real life here in Wenz world. Bucci, and you know what else is real and true is that I think. Listen, I'll acknowledge. We have a new undisputed Wenz world male soap opera moment champion here. Not that long of a reign, okay? So let's not overdo it. But I'm gonna recognize because
Rookie of the year, right?
For Rookie of the Year, baby. For the longest time, Bucci was just bouncing back and forth between me and you. I mean, basically me most of the time. But now we have a new player in the squared circle, and his name is Damascus Dez, and he is here to grace us with his presence as we recap WrestleMania 39 and look forward to Backlash coming up here in just a few weeks' time. Gentlemen, I say let's get it on. What say you?
I'm in.
Beautiful. All right, so let's recap. Yeah, I knew you'd be good. Let's recap Mania. We all had our picks going in. The first match we had our picks on was Austin Theory, the United States champion, heading into the match, going against his childhood icon, John Cena. Bucci, you selected Cena. Dez and I both selected Theory. Dez, I don't know about you, but I was feeling pretty darn good up after this first match.
I knew what was going to happen. I mean, I could see a swerve happening, but I just didn't see John Cena leaving his Hollywood career anytime soon. It was pretty obvious to me.
Yeah, so it's surprising it wasn't so obvious to the Wrestling Encyclopedia, but I'll let him speak for himself.
Yeah, Austin Theory won. I honestly thought they were going to give it to Cena just from, again, the way this match was built up. I felt like Austin Theory skated to WrestleMania. I don't feel like he fired up enough to deserve the win. I was not necessarily a fan of the fact that he won. I don't think he deserved it. But at the same time, the match I thought was very good. I love that Cena was toying with Theory for most of the match. I like the fact that it was kind of shades of him and Triple H when they fought in 06. I believe it was 06. Yeah. Oh, no, it was 05. Was it 05? It was 06. 06. Okay. When they had the match.
Having to check his own brain.
Yeah. Well, the Encyclopedia's brain is fried. He's been up since 6 a.m. So.
I mean,
I know. You get up earlier than all of us, but still, my brain is fried. But yeah, so So I felt like with Cena, I felt like he deserved it more, but I get that this was basically Cena putting over the young guy, because now at least if Austin Theory does bomb, they can't blame John. That's the only positive I saw coming out of this match. If Austin Theory shits the bed, they cannot blame John Cena because he gave him the win.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this. I don't think Theory's going to shit the bed. I think that he's pretty good on the mic. He's really good at making people hate him. And he's good in the ring. I agree with you that he didn't deserve this win, that he didn't need this win. And I feel like John Cena beating him would have been better for him in the long run. Because he could have had a rivalry with John if John won that title. And that rivalry would have been better for Theory than a one-off match.
Or even if the title didn't transfer and Cena had still found a way to win that match, that would have heightened the tension at least a little bit. But we all know that Cena's not going to travel with that belt, and we deserve more as the WWE universe than be teased with this once in a while appearance of our champion, right? Didn't we deal with that for so long, Booch, in the old world with Brock Lesnar, and how I used to fetch every week, week in and week out, where is he? Where is our champion? It's ridiculous. So, you know what? We got what we deserved. I got what I wanted. So did you, Damascus Dez. We are both up 1-0 heading into the second match, the SmackDown Women's Championship match, as Charlotte. Oh, God, it just sounds so good when you say it, right? It just sounds, it's just music to my ears. Charlotte Flair going up against Rhea Ripley. Well, all three of us picked Rhea Ripley. We saw the writing on the wall. This time, the writing on the wall was actually not the wrong writing. We got this one right. You know, we got swerved later on.
We look at the right
swerves, but yeah. But yeah, this is that. It was a great match. It was a match that we deserved and we got. And of course, we have a new SmackDown Women's Champion. So, gentlemen, Booch, I know you're not the biggest Rhea Ripley fan. You're more of a Charlotte Flair kind of guy. But, feel free to espouse your feelings and thoughts on all this.
Well, all I can say is I did invoke the Elite Rule during this match, if you saw on Twitch when I called the Elite Rule, where I sat this one out. But from what I saw, what I read, and from when I went to look back, because I just had to, it was a great match. I'll give them credit. It was awesome. Rhea Ripley won, which was what needed to happen. And it's not even just because I hate Charlotte Flair. It's just the fact that it was her time. And, it was time to give her the belt. It's time for someone else to run with it. And I feel like, whether Charlotte keeps competing or not, she's won so many titles at this point that to continue to put her in the title picture does more harm than good. And I would say that even if I didn't hate her. But again, I said this on the Booch cast, and I know it's going to rub people the wrong way, but damn it should have been the main event. It was that damn good, and you had the right people that I felt should have closed night one, but it didn't. I'm sure we'll get to that. We'll get to that main event, but I'll give credit. They tore the house down.
I will say, whereas I agree with you for once, this particular match should have been the main event for various reasons. The main event did not disappoint, so I'm not upset about it.
I agree.
For sure. And we saw an event that was pretty main, I'd say, in Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in Sami Zania 39, defeating the Usos, who have been champions for multiple years. I think, coming up on 3 years, Booch?
Yeah.
I don't know the exact amount, but coming up on it. And all three of us got this one right. All three of us saw the writing on the wall. We're feeling good. Booch, you're only one match behind. You'd spilled some Coke on your shirt at this point, disappointed. But you'd rubbed it out with one of those baby wipes. You're feeling good, getting yourself all dry and ready for the next match. You're feeling pretty confident, right, Booch?
Oh, yeah. Going into this, very confident, yeah.
Yeah, and this next match kind of humbled all three of us. Seth Rollins got the dub against Logan Paul. None of us saw the writing on the wall correctly. And this is where the demise started. This is where the swervy swerve started to happen as LP got the win. Another match that did not disappoint. Again, Booch, we talked about it the first time we recorded this, but of course your Wi-Fi was so ass that we're having to say it again. So, the co-founder of the energy drink brand, what's it called that Logan Paul does?
Prime.
The name of his drink?
Prime.
Prime. And he had his buddy out there in the Prime costume, and he took a nice little bump.
Yeah, that was of course KSI. He's a British YouTuber, boxer, a lot of things, and it was cool because he was in they were doing the moment with Seth Rollins getting the selfie, trying to do everything. And what I loved about it is it's something that I always preach all the time in wrestling. Is I like to believe in what I'm seeing. We all know it's a work. We all know it's predetermined. We all know that the two people in the ring don't always hate each other, although sometimes they do. But still, I want to believe in what I'm seeing. I know you don't hate each other, but still, make me believe what I'm watching. Make me think that this would really happen. So what I loved about it was when they did the switch, when Seth pulled KSI and Logan Paul jumped. If you watch closely, and I remember I didn't see it at first. Desmond actually made me watch the replay to see it back to make sure. And I thought, did Logan just jump for no reason? He goes, no, check it. There's a moment where Logan's looking up at the sky. He's spitting the water, the prime water in the air. And while he's looking up, they make the switch. As soon as he looks down, he jumps. And it's not until he's in midair that he realizes, oh, shit, that's not Seth Rollins. And it's too late. Boom, through the table. Brilliant. It was so brilliantly planned. And little things like that make the moment bigger than the initial just splash to the table.
Yeah.
This was entertaining. This was brilliantly done, once again showing why Logan Paul deserves to be in the WWE. And that's coming from someone. When the first time I saw Logan Paul being introduced to WWE, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? But he's proving that he is doing everything in his power to be a great superstar, including taking 2 back-to-back pay-per-view losses, which is not something you expect from a celebrity coming to the WWE.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. That's great insight, and it does show that he's willing to play second fiddle. And as somebody whose bravado is kind of counter to that kind of may show you who he actually is as a person, right? Willing to kind of say, all right, I understand what it's going to take for me to win this crowd, and maybe two losses will help him win the crowd over. I know he's kind of won me over. I know Demascussing, you've just willingly admitted that he's won you over. Booch, I know you've been a fan of his since day one-ish. So,
yeah,
big. It was a big win for him. Even he didn't win the match, but he still won because he's winning hearts, and that's what you need to do as a newcomer, right? So, good for him. BLT got the win against Damage Control Alt Delete. What do you guys want to talk about with this match? I mean, it seems so long ago because of Booch's crap internet connection, but hate to revisit that. I'm sorry. They got the old timers got the win. We're seeing some ongoing saga here, headed toward Backlash. Some rumors, gentlemen, about a potential match coming up at Backlash.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've
just gonna say it again, Booch. Yes, wrong. I called it. The titles weren't on the line, and Lita and Trish and Becky Lynch won yet again.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to bring up the fact that Booch was wrong again, but since you brought it up, Des, yeah, me and you, at this point, were both right. Booch was the lone damage control selector there. Booch, in hindsight, what were you thinking?
Easy. I thought what would later happen, I think either this past Monday or the Monday after, or the Monday before, where Trish turned on everybody. I heard rumors of Trish turning heel, and it was going to lead to her and Becky potentially at SummerSlam was when they were going to do it. At least that's what I heard. Maybe they'll move it forward. I don't know. So I was thinking Trish was going to turn at WrestleMania. I was shocked when she didn't, but I wasn't shocked when it happened later. So that was my mindset. I'm thinking Trish is going to cost them the match, and then Damage Control would win that way, and that would be the catalyst for Becky or Lita, one of them, mostly Becky, to say, all right, I'm going to face Trish.
See, I'm seeing something else with this. I think Trish is going to face Becky at Backlash, playing off the she attacked Lita thing, and Lita's going to stay down for a minute. I think what's going to end up happening is at SummerSlam, we're going to see Trish versus Lita.
Ooh.
Whoa, that'd be good.
Yeah, that'd be worth the price of admission in and of itself. Yeah, we're definitely going to see Lynch versus Stratus. It's just when, right? Are we going to see it at Backlash or further down the line? I would say sooner than later, right? Trish ain't getting no younger, and the man could use some work in Becky Lynch. But that's what you get here in Wenz World, the insights of the Wrestling Encyclopedia, and the new undisputed Wenz World Male Soap Opera Moment Prediction Champion, Demascus Dez. Dominic Mysterio versus Rey Mysterio. Dez kind of went off the beaten path here, selected the younger of the generation there, and he lost on that one. Yep. Booch, you saw the light. Your soda was cleaned off your shirt. You were feeling good about life. And you were on the come up here, as the kids are saying now, right? You were up and coming. You put some blades on your Sentra, maybe a spoiler. You fixed the sunroof. You were rocking and rolling. What this match accomplished what it needed to. There was a lot of great spots and a lot of emotion, right? And the stuff on the sideline with the mom and the drink and everything was great. It was everything it needed to be, and it sparked a fire under Ray's keister. And we saw some interference, a lot of great spots. Gentlemen, to me, I got to say, emotionally speaking, this was the match of Mania. This told the best emotional story. And I'm so glad that Ray won. Gosh, man, I can't imagine Dominic winning this match.
Well, I got to say, once again, and we did this I said this on the original recording, Vinny, but we made these predictions before SmackDown, which meant I made the prediction before the LWO was formed. It was easy for me to see Dominic winning before the LWO was formed because Dominic had backup. Dominic needed to come up. I saw a potential passing of the torch moment, and then Friday, after we made our predictions, they formed the LWO. It's like, oh, now Ray's got backup, and Ray has a reason to stick around for a while. Fuck.
And that was it, because I knew Ray. I didn't think Ray was done yet, because it was one of the things where if Ray was going to lose, he had to retire, because the story leading up to this is Dominic is pushing and prodding and trying to get Ray to fight him, and Ray is letting it go. I'm not going to hit my son. I'm not going to hit my son. I'm not going to hit my son. I don't want to fight my son. I still love you, blah, blah, blah. And then something had to happen, which it did, to finally make Ray punch him and go, I'm going to see you at WrestleMania. And at this point, Ray had taken so much verbal and physical abuse from Dominic that if he was going to stick around and him not to win this match would have buried him. Because after a certain point, that's what a babyface does. You push, you prod, you're getting beat down, and then at some point you got to get the revenge. You have to get the vengeance. Once you kill John Wick's dog, eventually John Wick has to kill you. Otherwise, the movie sucks. So, there you go. So, that's what I'm saying. So, that's what had to happen, and Ray did great with it. And so far, the feud's been phenomenal. Everything post WrestleMania, and ultimately, it was a great match. Ray had his backup. It helped him win. They still put on a great match regardless. So, and as we've seen, Dominic has become a phenomenal heel after Mania. So, this loss has not hurt him. It's made him an even better heel.
I think the best part of the whole match for me, though, was him throwing the drink on his sister. And I'll tell you why. It's because she didn't know it was going to happen.
Oh, damn.
I've seen a lot of reports saying that he just took a moment, stopped, and looked and said, this idiot is holding a drink, and it's within my reach. And in the middle of a WrestleMania match, he's like, I'm going to fuck with my sister. And that is not true brother-sister relationship. And I have 8 little sisters, so I can tell you from experience that nothing is.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, for sure. So it did. It told the story, right? And Booch, what you said from the beginning, like, get the family involved. That's what they have to do. And it seems like at every key moment, they've had these spots, right? These moments where the mom gets involved, the sister gets involved, and there you go. That's all it takes, and it's what it should take, right? It has to go that far for the face to turn, right? And I love that. You encapsulate it so beautifully. It's just that this makes me wonder why you're not still champion, but I don't know. We'll get there eventually. The next match that we want to talk about here is Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy versus the Viking Raiders. Booch, you selected Braun Strowman and Ricochet to win. Dez, both of us selected the Viking Raiders, who we did some trivia, gentlemen. Last time I challenged both of you, and I said, how many different names has this tag team, now currently known as the Viking Raiders, have they been known as? And you guys just were quick with it. You're like, 3, I think. 2, 3. What was it?
I think it was like
3 names.
3, yeah.
Yeah.
Or no, they went through 3 name changes. I think is what it was. They had, and I believe one of the name changes was back to a previous name.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was 3 name changes and still only 3 names.
The PC WWE police, having to change. We don't like war. War is just it triggers too many people, right? So even though it's supposed to be a battle, right? Everything's a battle in the WWE. Anyway, Street Profits won. Long overdue. Great tag team. Well deserved. And a good match. I'm not a big fan of these like multi-tag team matches. But they got the win and they did it right. Like it was a good match. It seemed so long ago, but good match. Street Profits won. Anything you guys want to add to that?
Surprisingly great match.
Yes.
Surprisingly great match. This right here was a prime example of why, and I've said it over and over again, people like to blame Ricochet for jumping into big crowds of people who are just catching him. That's not Ricochet's fault. Ricochet doesn't tell them how to set up. He goes and he does his spot, and if they aren't doing their spot to make it look good, that's on them. And Ricochet proved that by once again doing everything like he normally does, and people actually made it make sense. All the spots were done well, and it was all about the people who caught him did it in a way that made sense.
Yeah. This was one of those matches that we thought was going to be a bathroom break. We were like, this is one of those, because you see the Fatal 4-Way men's showcase, the Fatal 4-Way women's showcase, like, are you kidding me? This is a bunch of crap. Now, granted, we were half right. This is the half where we were wrong, because this match ended up being great. All the teams, for lack of a better term, got their shit in, but it was done right. It was done properly. There were no ridiculous spots, and if there were, they were minimal.
The best spot, the Tower of Doom in this match. Best Tower of Doom ever.
Yeah.
Nice callback. But we got to move forward, gentlemen, for the sake of time. Let's move it forward. This is a match that I was wrong on. Both of you guys selected Brock Lesnar to win this match. We're going to see Brock Lesnar coming up at Backlash against Cody Rhodes. That's going to be an interesting match. A lot of people think it's Cody Rhodes going to win that match. Some people are saying Brock's going to win that match to have a resurgence. It'll be interesting to see. And they might play the multi-match loss card for Cody because of the response he's gotten. Because there are a lot of people, you call them idiots, Booch, but they're still fans, and they say it's too soon. And there's a group of people out there that are like, you know what? It's too soon for me. And I don't know. We'll see what happens, but that's just what I'm seeing. That's what I'm hearing. But that was a result there. This is a match where, like I said last time we recorded, almost came off hot and heavy. And that always worries me. Whenever I see that, I always know that person's going to end up losing the match. And that's exactly what happened. But it was under 5 minutes. They didn't drag it out too long, right? But we got to see all the signature moves. But it also, even though he lost for Omos, this strengthened him. Because to lose to Brock Lesnar is to almost win, right? And so, for that reason, I have no concern, especially with MVP in his corner. He's going to go places. They just need to find a niche to put him in. Down the line, if they play it right, he could be competing for championship gold. But anything you guys want to add to this match?
This match was surprisingly good as well. I truly expected this match to suck. I did not come into this match expecting to enjoy it at all. But I definitely knew that Brock was going to win. There was no doubt in my mind Brock needed a win. Brock had been taking some losses here recently, and he really needed this win to continue looking good. And Omos has been dominant and has been beating everybody. It was important. It was not important for him to win. And just actually having this match with Brock at WrestleMania bettered him. And for him to be able to dominate the entire match and then Brock just survive made him look good.
Agreed. Yeah. We talked about that Fatal Four, the four-way match, right, with the guys, and then we got to the women's match. Booch, if I remember correctly, all of us selected Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler to win this match, correct?
Yes.
And if I remember correctly, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler won this match, correct?
Yes, we all got points for this one.
So were you feeling better about yourself? Because I sure was.
From a point standpoint, yes. From a WrestleMania standpoint, not really, because here's the thing. And Des and I talked about this. This was probably one of the best WrestleManias we've seen in a long time overall. Mm-hmm. There was only one bad, horrible match on the whole card, and it was this one. This was the only match that sucked. Every other match, whether we liked the finish or not, and there's at least one where we definitely didn't, it was still a good match leading up to that finish. Like, this Fatal 4 women's match was sloppy, it was awful, and it made no sense because you had the winners of the Fatal 4-Way, and yet a team who didn't win took the belt. They went to a number one contenders match. So, yeah, we're going to have a number one contenders match with two people who didn't win the WrestleMania showcase, and the winner of that match now has the belt.
Let me just add something. And I thought about this, right? Because they won it a week later, approximately. After the fact. And we're talking, in case you're just catching up, we're talking about Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, right? So
yeah.
A lot of people might say, to your point, and I'm one of them, right? I'm split on this because I want there to be a title transfer at the pay-per-views. But I also, a part of me, wants to randomly turn on Raw and SmackDown every now and then under a blue moon and see a title transfer because it adds that level of you never know. You got to have it every now and then. But to your point, in a moment where that could have really put them higher in terms of in the minds, the forefront of the WWE universe, more people are watching Mania than they're watching, the blue and red brand. So let's just be honest about that. If you're Liv and Raquel, does that hit you in a certain way, or are you just grateful to be where you are?
Okay, I gotta say with this, first off, I do to an extent agree that Liv and Raquel shouldn't have won after losing at Mania, but they did win the following night at WrestleMania on Monday Night Raw. They did win a tag team match together on Monday Night Raw, and it was the following week that they won against Trish and yeah. So it wasn't like that. And there's a second thing. At no point did anybody say on the record that these showcase matches were number one contendership matches.
Yeah, technically no, but it's one of those things where it's like, if you're going to give Raquel and Liv the belt, why not let them win at WrestleMania then? So I understand it's not officially won, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's self-explanatory. We're pushing that team. And just to reiterate something with the Wenz, I want to clarify something. I was not upset that the titles changed hands on Raw. My issue was the fact that if Ronda and Shayna had won on Raw, I'd be okay with that. I'm all for titles changing hands occasionally on TV to get people to watch, because it is a good ratings hit. My issue was not that it changed hands on Raw, but the team that it went to, just to clarify.
Okay, that's fair. I get that.
I think I will say this though. I think when Shayna and Ronda win the titles, it needs to be at a pay-per-view. So I think giving it to Liv and Raquel at this point is a good way to, one, get the belts off of Lita and Becky so that they can do their thing with Trish with the heel turn, as well as building an opportunity at having Ronda and Baszler take the belts at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I see that. I for sure support that, and we're probably going to see it play out like that, right? And moving towards the Intercontinental division here, look, Gunther continues on. All three of us were wrong. All three of us, I believe, selected Sheamus. Drew McIntyre lost that match. Or wait, who was it that? No, it was your son that selected Drew, right?
Yep, my son selected Drew.
Who, by the way, this just in, his son beat all of us. So
yeah, this is the two-belt house. This is a two-belt household. I'm not only the champion here, but I raised the champion of the Boochcast version.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And obviously, Dez will be defending his title on the next episode when we give our predictions for Backlash, but Dax won't be defending his till SummerSlam. SummerSlam is when Dax will be defending his.
And Gunther will be defending his coming up here. I'm sure he's going to have a match at Backlash. I hope so. Every belt should be defended at every pay-per-view, Booch. You know my stance on that. Now you do too, Damascus Dez. But Gunther's still your champion. Coming up here, if I'm correct, on a year. So he won against Ricochet on SmackDown on June 10th of 2022. So we're coming up on a year of him being Intercontinental Champion. I like his reign. This was a great match. We were all swerved, right? We thought you guys, you know, you convinced me on this whole Sheamus now or never talk, and I cannot believe I was duped into this. But you know what? Lesson learned. Lesson learned, guys. But Gunther's still our champion. Great match. Anything you guys want to add to that?
It was a phenomenal match. Triple threats are hit or miss. Are always hit or miss. There's very little in between. But this was a great match. It was very hard hitting, and it made sense. I'm not happy how they did Sheamus, but Gunther is a good champion, and I'm looking forward to see who takes the belt from him.
No doubt. What about you, Booch?
Yeah, I enjoyed the triple threat match, which surprised me, but what I liked about it was just how everything flowed well together. Like, one of my favorite spots was when Gunther was tied in the ropes, and Sheamus is doing the bout in the 10 beats. But then after every beat, Drew would do a chop. So it's like beat, chop, beat, chop. I thought that was brilliant. I do kind of feel like Sheamus should have won because, as you mentioned before, this was his chance to be a Grand Slam champion. And this feud with Gunther has kind of made people remember how good he is. So I think a lot of people have forgotten. One in particular is here on the show. But I feel like a lot of people, need to be reminded that Sheamus is great. And also, Drew McIntyre, he didn't need to win. Like, he didn't need to be Intercontinental Champion. It wouldn't have benefited him. I don't think it would have helped the title at all.
Listen, he's off the grid, man. He's at odds with WWE right now. He's doing stuff with this. He went dark on Twitter. He's doing a bunch of weird stuff right
Wiped
now.
every reference to WWE off of his Twitter.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on there. He's under contract for, I think, just under a year, but apparently they're beefing about money, which it always comes down to. But good news, Drew. Just go to AEW and you'll be in the spotlight in no time. So, and I kind of like...
I give it 2 weeks and he's on dark.
Yeah, they don't push the big guys in AEW.
Oh, that sucks. But he'll be all right. He's made a ton of money already.
Yeah.
He'll be okay. So that was that match. Bianca Belair, Asuka. We got swerved on this, guys. All three of us had egg on our face. And now, here we are. Bianca is still our champion as of right now. Your guys' thoughts on this match? I really liked this match. All in all, it is what it is. I didn't necessarily like the outcome, but I thought it was a good match. What say you?
I loved it. It was a great match up until the finish. And don't get me wrong, it was a smooth finish. It was done well. I'm not mad at the girls for doing that, but we've seen too much of Bianca. Bianca needs to step away for a minute. And I love Bianca. She's great. She's a phenomenal champion. She holds her own really well. But with Asuka's recent character change, her return to being a badass, and I know a lot of people are, and I'm sure both of you are included in this, don't like the fact that she's not great at English, but I do enjoy the passion when she cuts a promo.
I don't enjoy any of it.
And
not a single second.
And so I really love Asuka. I've loved her since she debuted. And I feel like this return to being dominant again was something she needed, and it would freshen up the women's championship division.
Well, it's one way of seeing it. Booch, what do you think?
I have to make a confession here. I jokingly said this would be a bathroom break, but I did seriously have to go to the bathroom during this match. I didn't want to miss the main event, so I don't want people to think I wasn't hating on the match. I just really had to go. But I will say, overall, the match was good. Like I said, like Desmond said, the finish was smooth. It's one of those things where you could be upset that Bianca's still champion, but then it's one of those finishes where it's like, we can be mad, but we can't be too mad because it was a good one. And I feel like this is going to lead to, based on what I saw the next night on Raw afterwards, was, the confrontation between Bianca and Rhea. I got to think
just got word. Booch, 6 minutes. 6 minutes. We got 6 minutes to finish this whole thing, so you got to finish this thought. We got to keep moving. Go.
They're going to unify the titles. Let's move on.
I want to make sure that I get time to really give The Miz his proper due here. He's such a company guy. He's such a great guy. And like anybody that would come out of the woodwork and claim that he's like rude or whatever, he's just playing a character. And if you like maybe happen to be that person, maybe you were the person who was at fault. I don't know. We can't spend too much time on that. But he got beat by Snoop Dogg, who's already a Hall of Famer. So no surprise there. But it was a whole bunch of bad. Pat McAfee that was the original book, right? But Snoop Dogg got the people's elbow, and it was funny, right? It was cute, and that's what it needed to be. Booch, any thoughts on any of it?
Yes. Seeing The Miz get his ass kicked is always enjoyable. But I did like Pat McAfee, the fact that he showed up. I thought that was perfect. You could tell it was a shock. I was wondering where Pat was. I'm like, come on, Pat McAfee's got to be at WrestleMania. So it was still a great match. Obviously, we were going to see a WrestleMania rematch originally between Miz and Shane. Shane, obviously, tweaked his knee on the leapfrog. So they had to improv that whole thing. And there's camera angles where there's people yelling like, punch the Miz, punch, like the cameraman signaling to the Snoop Dogg to punch the Miz, so Snoop Dogg punches him. And then they did all that on the fly to cover up the fact that Shane just got injured. What do we do? So Snoop doing that people's elbow was brilliant. It got the crowd over, and as much as I hate the Miz, I'll give him credit. He did the job.
Well, they knew that Snoop would never remember any of the moves, so they're like, we just got to tell him to do them, and then he'll do it right then.
One correction. He didn't tweak his knee. He tore his quad.
Ooh.
Oh, with the quad tear? Okay.
Ouch. That's awful. Yeah, I hope Shano gets better, man, because I'd love to see him back in action. I want to see, you got to see Coast to Coast, man. There's nothing better than Coast to Coast. It's the best. But real quick, Edge defeating the Demon Finn Balor. I got swerved on this. You guys both selected Edge. That was a big difference maker right there for you, Demascus Dez. Great match. Not a match that I'm super upset I was wrong about. It was like more of those needed to happen matches. Is this the end of this, guys? Is this the end of this feud? Let's hope, right? Let's hope.
One more thing. On the predictions, when we made the predictions, we were trying to remember who had beaten the Fiend, who had beaten the Demon. When we talked about the Fiend, Roman Reigns beat the Demon.
Oh, so two people have now.
Right, that's right. I forgot about that.
They did he went up there, and then the lights went all bright like it was a thing from God, and then all of a sudden the ring fucked up, and then Reigns hit a spear and won the match.
Oh, good call.
Totally forgot about that.
Des. Nice. All right, well, moving forward, this deserves the next 2 or 3 minutes, guys. You each get a minute each. Roman Reigns somehow defeated Cody Rhodes. Like, all three of us thought hell would freeze over before this would happen. We all got swerved. The whole universe was swerved. I got nothing to say. Like, this match was great. It was a great match. It was like freaking over a half hour, if I'm not mistaken. So, Great match. It told the story. I'm just really, really surprised. I'm not surprised that there was some outside interference and Solo got his lick in, but I am surprised that at the end of the day, we don't see Cody Rhodes as champion right now. Damascus Dez, you're the champ. Go for it, brother.
First thing I want to say is I'm not happy about it. I'm not. It was a great match. Best main event we've seen in years. It was phenomenal. I have nothing against what happened, but it was. I felt like Roman Reigns needs to drop the damn title. But since we're doing this so much later, Stone Cold has weighed in and said that it's still Roman's time and Roman is red hot and he feels like that does need to go to Cody eventually, but he feels like it was still Roman's time. Stone Cold Steve Austin agrees with the finish.
Do you think Roman Reigns agrees with the finish? Don't you think he's ready for a vacation?
I don't know.
I think that he's kind of taking mini vacations every other week as it is. So,
yeah.
Ultimately,
I felt like, as the people ask me about this on the internet, my answer is no. I do not think Cody's getting buried, but I do think that WWE had a great story and fucked it up. And this is not the first time they've done it. This was the right time. This was the right opportunity. And you're banking on the fact that you're going to get people to care about it later. And it becomes like the game of keep away where at first you're playing, but eventually you give up and go, you're not going to give it to me. You just walk away. And I'm worried they're going to do that. They're going to overdo this. And it's like when Cody finally wins, is it going to be a, yay, he's the champion, or is it going to be a, it's about time? Because people who say he hasn't had enough adversity do not know the story. Do not know the struggle this man went through to dealing with the Stardust gimmick, leaving the company, starting a wrestling company. Notice I said he started a wrestling company because the guys riding his coattails ain't smart enough to do that on their own. If they were, they would have done it years ago. He establishes this company, leads this company, comes back with the gimmick, the prodigal son, the dad in the garden, builds everything up, tears the pectoral muscle, comes back, wins the Royal Rumble. You can't ask for a better struggle story than that. Like, you had it right there. I feel like if you drag this out too long, it'll either get stale, the story, or the pop won't be as loud. So I don't know what the plan is, but the match was phenomenal until the finish. But everything before that was amazing. The story, the interference, the Usos coming in, Kevin and Sami eating up the odds, the reset button on the whole thing, fighting, and then the Solo thing happened. So I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens, but right now I'm not optimistic. Hopefully they can prove me wrong.
And with that, we are up against it. Ladies and gentlemen, so much more to get to. If you have questions for the show, hit us up on Twitter, at Vince Bucci, at Wenz World Radio. Dez, I can't remember your handle off the top, but we'll put it in the description, everything. So you'll be well repped there. Guys, there's rumors, we're going to get to this on the next show, that we could see Raw moving off of Monday nights with Warner Brothers' interest. They have some conflicts there with AEW, some programming conflict. Also, there's some talk about paranoia in the locker room because of Vince McMahon's return. Triple H bringing some of those wrestlers back, and now that Vinnie Mac is back, they're like, oh crap, like how is this going to impact us? So we're going to get to that on the next edition. We'll record before Backlash also, so you'll have our last minute predictions. We'll try to get as close to the show as we can so it'll reflect everything that's going on, because there'll be some last minute ads. But until then, we never, ever like to leave without saying a couple key things, one of which is, have a nice day.
The other is, bang, bang.
And we'll come up with something for Dez soon.
The champ is here.